This episode of the Diverse Creative Podcast is sponsored by Flow by Topaz. More on that later.
See your heart and baby, you have no fear. Your hand felt like mine when I pulled you out of the ground. Between the rosemary and the thyme, you grabbed on to my lifeline. Now you see me clear.
So welcome to this episode of the Diverse Creative Podcast. I am here today with Adele. You go by PEMA Africa.
Yes. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Hello. Welcome to the show. I hope you're going to enjoy the conversation as much as I normally do. So I've obviously done a little bit of research into you, into your music, into the journey you've been on musically. And I know your music has gone through quite an evolution. And you've been in this industry for from what I can tell, about 20 years. Why don't you, in your own words, give me a little bit of info on how your journey has been and where it started and where it's come to now?
And we started a band in school called Sarki. And it's like sort of a rock, pop, indie band, Afrikaans. And we did lots of gigs, albums. And then so that I can also play acoustic sets, as you know, and I wanted to write some other languages, and I got on a spiritual journey. So I wanted to add more dimensions to my music. So that's when I started with PEMA Africa. So Sarki still plays, and we have a gig this weekend. And then PEMA Africa was born. I thought my answer wasn't good enough. I'm like, okay, I can add stuff.
No, it's just occasionally, lately I've been having some issues with my internet down here. So occasionally I've just got to do some editing on these podcast episodes where I snip out gaps where silences have come in that shouldn't be there. So don't stress too much. Your answer was perfect. So, I mean, I know for me as a songwriter, as a songwriter, my kind of soul needs to write songs, and I'm getting much of that from you as well. You know, that it's like there's a large part of you, a large part of your soul's journey that expresses itself through music and through songwriting. And obviously, like you said, your music has gone on this journey from high school and Sarki all the way through to PEMA Africa now. And I'm very glad to hear that Sarki is still playing, that band is still going strong, because that's like longevity. Well done. That's amazing. And also, you know, just to know that as an artist, you found as many avenues as possible to be yourself, you know, to truly express who you are through your music. How have you found the journey as a solo artist has been for you?
Your mind, you sort of work against your mind because you'll do something creative, comes out of the heart, and then your mind will be like, is this gonna work? Will people resonate with this? And where else, we're in a band, it's quite easy. You can immediately, you know, people saying, yeah, this will work, this won't, let's do that. But so you are also a songwriter. It's nice to be talking to. With PEMA Africa, I think maybe you also experience that some hardship in your life actually creates nice songs. You know, if you to open your heart and to deal with that emotion in your music, you know, and deep, how can I say, you must look inside and with the band, we deep diving into the realms of your unconscious.
Yeah, I absolutely think you're right. You know, I think that having a bit of life experience, you know, especially the older you get, you've gone through a lot in life, and it really gives you fuel for songwriting. You know, when you go through hardships and trauma, and those experiences actually allow you to be so honest with yourself, you know, and it can't help but break down any walls you might have built up. And then as a songwriter, you have this ability to express that honestly and so truly, and I definitely think that, obviously the joys in life are wonderful to express, and it's great when you can share your joys through your music too. But I think that we as people all kind of need to know we're not alone when we're in our hardships. And that's where music connects with us so strongly in those moments.
Wow, that's beautiful what you said there. Absolutely. I mean, out in the world, it's so you can't cry in front of everybody. It's like you've got to be a functional human being all the time. But most of us are at some point broken in our lives, and it's nice to then find comfort in. It's like a hand reaching out to you. If you hear a song of this person also going through something, it's like you grab this hand and you're like, oh, we're not alone in this.
Absolutely. And it helps to pull you through it. It helps to help you process that trauma through someone else's experience as well. Sometimes you're in something and it's too close to really see clearly. But when you hear it echoed back to you through somebody else's music, through somebody else's words and experiences, it helps you to process that moment. And I think it's one of the reasons we resonate so strongly with music that is about trauma as well. I think it's one of the reasons when we hear someone else's heartache, we feel it, and it helps us to feel our own heartache and to really come to terms with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Music is amazing that you can actually make someone feel through music. It's like a language on its own.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I do sort of often raise is that because music in and of itself is a language, it's not just the songwriting, which is the words in a song, but the actual tones, the melodies, the instrumentation, the layers of sound are a journey and a language and a communication of its own. And because of that, it reaches through a lot of different dimensions of a person when you're listening to it. It resonates in a different way than if you were just to hear someone telling you the story. It captures emotion in a much more tangible way, and you can really feel it. Like when you hear a piece of guitar music that speaks in and of itself, there's something really powerful about that. And obviously it translates across languages. It means that if even someone not understanding the words, they can still understand the energy behind a song.
Sometimes I forget when I gig, especially with PEMA, I have to go and experience the songs as I play it and not see me performing it, but just play it as if I'm playing it for myself. Then there's some communication between me and the audience, whereas I'm just playing my songs for them. But when I experience, that song, it makes everyone experience it. It's weird. It's like we're connected at some deep emotional level, or I don't beyond words.
Well, I do think there's like a collective
I think
consciousness,
so.
where we as people are unknowingly to ourselves joined a bit like mycelium under the ground. You can't see the connection, but it's there. And when we as people, as musicians, are able to connect with where we were when we wrote a song, connect with the story we're telling, with the music we're creating, that instantly permeates, into that collective kind of connected web. And it does allow the audience to be with you in that moment, and then you also will connect with people in the audience that somehow energetically you can see in their expression or in the energy that they're putting off, that they feel that story, that they know that story. Somehow they know it just as well as you do. And that is one of those amazing things about conscious
Yes.
music,
Wow. It's like a magic, actually. Technology invented by, I don't know, the way of, sci-fi back in the day, they used to talk telepathically and all that stuff. And all this sci-fi stuff eventually becomes reality. So music is like it shows that there is this, you're right, like, this field beyond what we can see there must be something beyond there.
I mean, strangely enough, they've done studies on it, and there's a book called The Field, which discusses exactly that field beyond what we can see, that's somehow interconnecting
Wow.
the web of life, right? And I think that, like, even if you were to play in a forest where there was no one physically close to you listening to that sound, because all life is connected, that resonance somehow still changes the world, right? And that's why, especially with what I've kind of looked into about you and how you've written your songs and the spiritual journey you've gone on, and what you're trying to communicate through the words that you're speaking, there's definitely an intentional resonance that you're putting into the world. And so I feel like that, just because it's done with clarity and with such intention, it has to be causing a positive ripple effect into that field.
Oh, yes, I see what you say. Yes, yes. Yeah, I think intention is everything. That is the core, because if everything is energy, how can we direct it, or how do we know? And I realize it's in the intention. You are right, because if there's also a book called Spiritual Journey Through Music. And this guy says that the music is like a form of, you can heal people through it, because it's frequencies, and it's like going out in the air. So if you wish for everyone to have a happy time and have a happy life, who's not to say they will receive that thoughts and energy and feel better afterwards, or something like that. So it's very interesting that you said that now. Makes sense to me. So the field and everything is like connected, actually. Wow, that's amazing.
This episode of the Diverse Creative Podcast is proudly sponsored by Flow by Topaz. And this is a fashion brand that I have been proudly associated with for many years as brand ambassador. Her clothes are amazing. They've got such an incredible vibe, unique and authentic, created from locally sourced and sustainable fabrics. And she also likes to upcycle fabrics, which is absolutely amazing. She's happy to customize any of her designs, so they really are made to fit absolutely anybody, and they are super, super comfortable to wear. So wear them up, wear them down, layer them, but most importantly, love them. For any of your fashion needs, check out Flow by Topaz.
As live performers, we get on a stage, and there's times when I get on stage and I feel like I'm on a pedestal a bit separate from everyone else, and I have to actively reach off that and out into the crowd. And then there's other shows that I've done where I feel somehow like I'm in the crowd with everybody, and those are my favorite shows. You know, the ones where I feel like when I arrive and I show up, I'm almost sitting down with them. And it's a strange thing, because I think when we start performing, it's often small stages, intimate crowds, drum circles, you know, little intimate gatherings of friends and family. And that's where we find this deep connection with people, and the feedback is always so encouraging and so positive. And then as musicians, we strive for bigger stages. You know, we aim for bigger festivals, bigger stages. But in those spaces, it's often so much harder to achieve that same connection and that same result that we used to get just jamming for some friends, you know? And I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, like how I find it funny how often we set ourselves these goals, these external things to achieve through our music. And in doing so, the further we get away from the people we originally started doing it for, you know, and often further away from ourselves too, you know. I've seen so many musicians do that, where they start out and they're so organic and authentic and true. And then they become famous, and suddenly there's something else, and they're not themselves anymore. And there's a distance again between themselves
Yes.
and their audience, And I think, I mean, you've had an incredibly long musical career now, and you've been doing this for a very long time. But especially in what you're doing with PEMA Africa, I can see that authenticity and that real connection so present.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're
That book
so
you
welcome.
spoke about, the field, is it like um, is it please tell me about this book.
So it was a study. It was a study done by some scientists who were experiencing spiritual effects, right, in the world, and they were seeing sort of like these random connections across space and time. I think Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, where someone on one side of the world can have a thought, have a moment of inspiration, and someone else on the other side of the world, completely disconnected in obvious ways, um, will have the same exact inspiration, will have the same exact thought. And so they started to look at how does this happen? How is one particle connected to another, even though they are in no way related, even though there's no physical connection between them? And yet still, when something happens to this one, the one on the other side experiences the change. And so they started to look at that from like a particle level all the way through to a human level, and how we as human
Wow.
beings affect the world around us and the field.
Wow.
And how telepathy came into that, communication across time and space. And it really is like an amazing book. So I will try and find a link for you after this and send it through to you so you can go and check it out. But I think that as musicians and as artists, we are in that field, at least partly, all the time. Our creative subconscious is always playing there.
I totally understand what you say. I mean, I've learned so much now. I think always remember in a township, and he said when they were young, they weren't like everyone could play an instrument, like they would gather to, everyone could play something. At some point in the evolution of humanity, we started to put ourselves on a stage, and then people have to sit and look and then clap, and then it became so it took away the personal experience of it, because music is actually something everybody must experience. And I wish one day I could do a show where the people could play the music with me. So I started doing some drumming circles where I just play with me.
Love that.
But it's still not there. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that is closer to the field maybe. And that's how, it's, at what point does it become performing and you this, and it's not about the music anymore. We sometimes can lose that. More people will play instruments and then just come together, like you said, to feel that when we're all performing and dancing together, how it feels.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that that kind of goes back to our tribal roots, and our desire to experience connection between other people. That's how our sort of culture developed, was in sharing art and in sharing music and in sharing the experience of creating things, creating spaces, creating sound, creating villages and communities, and it's all connected. And I mean, if you, like you said, you do these drumming circles and you perform and people are interacting with that, there is, everyone always feels uplifted, right? And they feel, even if all they could do was just one steady beat, if that's all they had the capacity to do, they still felt valuable. And that's an amazing thing, actually, to gift people. And I've had a very similar sort of desire to go into a show and, have, even if I have like my band dispersed amongst the audience to start with, and have them sort of pop up and start playing their instruments in the audience, because I feel like even that connects people.
It will definitely. Have you done it?
I've done it to a degree. I've had people walk in
You must do it,
through the
please.
audience and get on stage
Really.
kind of through the audience, which is a really nice thing to do too. It definitely brought people in very quickly, you know? So it does work well. And I've also over the years had people come and just drum.
Yeah, without
uh,
even playing. I can imagine.
so I've had
Yeah.
fans show up and they've known me from drum circles, or they've known me from random fireside jams. And so they feel comfortable bringing their drum or bringing their didgeridoo or like coming with a shaker even. And I've had them
Oh,
at big
cool.
festivals sitting in the crowd, drumming and doing their shaker. And even if they don't know the words, they can still add to the music, which has been amazing.
Wow, take one like that and they come with you on the stage. It's also the crowd loves it. I've seen if you take someone from the crowd and you don't know each other, but and it's always clever because the drums, they don't have to know the chords, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I once had this guy long time ago with Sarki, and he was like in the crowd and he told me he can whistle through a beer bottle, but he really looked like he could. So on the stage, and nothing came out, and I realized I made a big mistake. This guy was just talking nonsense, and he's drunk, and I'm like, oh, I have to fix this now. I don't know how.
I mean, I definitely think that that's actually just
Say
kind of part
again.
of I think that's part of the experience. You know, people will occasionally get up there drunk and do a bad job of what they suggested they could do. But everybody else in the crowd at least gets a real and authentic moment, right? They got something that they're never going to see again.
Yeah, because the people loved it. They still loved it. Even though, yeah, that's true. It's authentic. You're right. Yeah.
So tell me about how you connected with Galpalooza in particular, because obviously you are quite you're an amazing artist, and I think a very good fit for Galpalooza and for the ethos behind what they're doing. So tell me about how you first connected with the Galpalooza concept.
I got this email because I know Jolene from over the years, and I love her. I think she's an awesome person. And then wishes, yeah, woman, yeah, thank you. So I'm very that they asked me to be part of it for them, because it's a huge responsibility and it's a lot of hard work but you know, I've met so many new girls. I followed all of them. I was like, I didn't know all these women songwriters playing their guitars, you know. I come from Sarki Afrikaans, so I knew like the backtrack singers, you know. I didn't know there were these women writing the songs on all these instruments. And so Galpalooza is like, yeah, it's something that can it's something of the future. I'm telling you, it's great.
And I think it is also another one of those things that's building community, you know, it is creating connections, like you said, between songwriters, and it hopefully will lead to so many more collaborations and shared inspirations. And I mean, that is such a beautiful and powerful thing, especially in women in music in this country. You know, we've got so many stories to tell. And if we tell them together, we back each other up in such a beautiful way. And I think it's a really powerful thing to do, you know?
I just want if people can look at artists and say it's a lot of artists, you know, like good artists. And these women are not only women, they are good artists. And they also go through the same struggles as me. I mean, we get sometimes people shout stuff, you know, for you on stage when you write a song or when you sing, they'll be tuning you. And, you know, it's so nice to hear. All of us are going through the same thing. We're all experiencing, you know, sort of the same stuff. So it was a tremendous, it connected me again with something greater than just myself. And I love that.
And I think that's such an amazing thing to say. You know, no one has actually brought that up, that it's allowed us to connect with each other and to share our shared experiences. You know, to say, yes, that also happens to me. You know, oh my goodness, yes,
Yeah.
I also get that drunk guy sitting in the audience who's yelling some inappropriate comment. And by the end of the show, he's normally coming up to me going, listen, I totally underestimated you. I really love what you're doing. You know, when at the beginning he was like, oh, Macy, you look so pretty, you know, and I'm like, come
Yeah,
on.
they do that. And then you can't be nasty because you're like at spotlight now. They kinda, you got to be, yeah, man, it's like flip it.
But I do think it is such an amazing thing that we get to share those experiences and be like, it might be the same guy showing up at everybody's shows. You never know. Maybe there's just that one dude who does that.
It might, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
before we have any more internet gremlins in the works, tell me, where can people follow you? Where can they find your music? Where can they support PEMA Africa and Saki? Give me both.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, PEMA Africa, and if you're looking at Sarkie, Saarkie, and PEMA Africa is PEMA and Africa, and also on Spotify, TikTok, yeah, and I've got a website, so you can check me out there, PEMA Africa, and I'll be at the Galpalooza in Meyerton at the Swagga's Brewery.
Hello there, I'm Jo from Flow by Topaz. I'm at the Belito Farmers Market. We started in 2016, so we're 10 years old this year. And I started this business in a way that I would make local stuff, 100% local, consciously manufactured, so reducing my carbon footprint, using repurposed fabrics, and specializing in clothing for ladies with unusual shaped bodies. We'll take things from my range and make them to fit your body. So if you have any unusual body requests, extra length legs, you'd like a longer sleeve, whatever, I will do that for you as well. We work with cottons, with natural fibers, with synthetics as well, but better end fabrics, and my stuff fits and lasts for many years.